say anymore? Bet. Yo, do I need to say anymore? Bet. Yo, say no more in case you don't know. So in case you know, the case is low. Even if you get a chance to take a stand and dance. Gotta remember the game is so advanced. 4 clicks from the mallet, it sounds like hood. Realize you in the courtroom dancing with wolves. If I'm not my best, I won't rest till I am. I grinding out in the 10, eat my rhymes out of can. Say no more if I'm a man, I can. I won't stop till the full course, mill in my hand. So listen, it's better than I'm better than before. Like a few G's, you gon' know the scope, bro. Do I need to say anymore? Bet. Yo, do I need to say anymore? Bet. Say no more, folks.
Welcome back to the show. Happy Woman Wednesday to all of the ladies out there. Yeah. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com, man. Make sure you check out the latest episode of Chop It Up, man. May have been one of the greatest interviews that I ever did in my life with my Uncle Donnie. Oh, man. A couple of times in the interview, I can tell you this, a couple of times in the interview, man, he refers back or harkens back to when me and my brother were young and the way that we interacted with each other. Let's put it like that. He also talked about something else about my Uncle Donnie. I don't think I've talked about it a lot, but his son, my first cousin Dante, and talking about our football prowess growing up and how we did all of these, you know, in relative terms, good things in sport. Uncle Donnie's son was the quarterback of the only undefeated team in our high school's history. That's right, you heard me. Not only that, but at the time, and there's been many subsequently, but at the time when he was the quarterback of the high school, and he wasn't just like a quarterback that handed the ball off. My cousin Dante used to throw that ball. He used to throw that tater. He used to chunk it around. And at the time when he became the quarterback of the varsity, and once again that year they went undefeated, he was the first black quarterback, the first starting black quarterback for the varsity football team. That's right. And once again, they went 15-0, won the state championship. Gus, that's what we call him. Gus had like big numbers, got recruited to play a little bit of college football. Ultimately didn't end up doing it. But, yeah, so, you know, obviously I was pretty solid. I'm not going to brag about myself too much more than I've done in my life. So I was pretty solid. Obviously, Ryan was pretty damn good. He played at Georgia Tech, played in the NFL for 5 years. My cousin, my Uncle Donnie's son, was a quarterback for the only team thus far that I know of that went undefeated at our high school, in our high school's history, and at the time was the first black quarterback. So he talks a little bit about the pride that he felt, you know, in our hometown. And some of the things we did back in the day. You need to check out that interview with Uncle Donnie. I'm going to read a lot of messages in the chat room in this segment on the DougStewartShow.com. But quickly, man, Toronto's Raptors made a deal. They're bringing in Serge Ibaka to add to the roster. The Raptors acquired the veteran power forward from Orlando on Tuesday for Terrence Ross and a 2017 first-round draft pick. The Raptors started the day in fourth place in the Eastern Conference, having lost 10 of their previous 14 games. The latest ugly performance came on Sunday when the Raptors gave up a 16-point lead to start the fourth quarter and lost to the Detroit Pistons. Kyle Lowry felt better after the news on Tuesday's trade. After it broke, he says, quote, "I think he's a great addition," he said, of Ibaka. "I think he's a great addition to any team, and especially to ours, where we can add some shot blocking, some outside shooting, and some inside toughness, some athleticism running up and down the floor. I think he's going to be a guy that can take some pressure off me and DeMar DeRozan." And so that's a big move, man. Orlando had felt in recent weeks that Ibaka might leave in free agency again this summer. Without assurance he would stay, the Magic weighed offers from several teams, including the Raptors and Heat, before agreeing to the trade. The Raptors parted with Ross, who was in the first year of a 3-year, $31 million contract, and a pick to get the deal done. Ross averaged 10.4 points and 2.6 rebounds per game, but never really lived up to what Toronto wanted him to do. So that's a big deal. It's crazy, man, whenever I think about any of those guys that played on that Oklahoma City team, the first time where they went to the finals. And was James Harden on the team that went to the finals? He may have already been gone. Well, let's just go back a couple of years even before that. Oklahoma City had on one team, all relatively young. I'm going to say all of them were under the age of like 23 years old. On one team at one time, Oklahoma City Thunder had Serge Ibaka, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Did you hear what I said? Durant, Harden, Ibaka, and Westbrook. And they've lost all of them except for Westbrook, man. It sounds like some type of travesty. It sounds like some type of travesty. It sounds like sacrilegious that you would have and build up that many great players through the draft and what have you, man, and you can't keep them. You can't keep all of the good players the way that the game and the salary cap is structured, man. You just can't keep everybody. But it seems like if you draft players, you should have some further allowances to keep players that you drafted. I get it if you're talking about free agents. I get it. I totally get it. But there should be some provisions in my mind where you can keep guys you drafted. You can pay free agents that you drafted even more. And they do have like the bird rules or whatever, man. But it just seems like a shame that you got all of these great players. You can't find a way to keep them. Now Oklahoma City is where they're at right now with just Russell Westbrook struggling. He's pretty much all they got. He does everything. He scores. He rebounds. He gets assists, averaging a triple-double a night. It just seems wrong. It just doesn't seem like that should be able to happen. When you put together all this great talent and through hook or crook you lose them through free agency. You can't pay everybody. It just seems wrong, especially when you drafted these guys. What are your thoughts? From Fly Ty in the chat room on Spreaker.com, he says, Andre, we had black quarterbacks, but none started at the varsity level. So Fly Ty, my cousin, he played with us during my era. Ty is a year younger than me. And so Ty played with us. Yeah, so my cousin was the first starter, and he started when they won that state championship, little story I told a little while ago. Like, Gus is probably like 6 or 7 years younger than me. So I graduated in 88, so this is probably 95, 96, or 97. So up until that point, before my cousin started, we had black quarterbacks like in JV, but magically when we got to varsity, they ended up being defensive backs. Right. That's the era I'm living in. That's the era that I lived in, right. I mean, perfect example is, and I tell this story all the time, we talk about this all the time whenever I go back to the crib. When I was in JV, up until when I was in the second grade, okay? When I was in the second grade, there was this tandem of players that played together every year. It was me, my homeboy Keith Wilson, he was the fullback, and my other homeboy Darryl Frazier was the quarterback. All right? We went from 7-year-old kids through small fry, through Bantam, through JV, and we were the three amigos kind of like. And Darryl was an outstanding quarterback. He could throw the football. He could run. He was athletic as hell. We ran the hell out of the option. When we get to varsity, magically, somehow they moved Darryl Frazier to safety. That's that bullshit. Right. That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit I'm talking about. And then, once again, Gus, my cousin Dante, came around probably 7-8 years after me. And the rest is history. They went undefeated. It took our high school 100-plus years to start a black quarterback. And the first time they do it, 15-0, undefeated. What does that tell you? It makes me mad every time I think about it, man. And we had a pretty solid senior year. We went 8-4, made it to the second round of the playoffs. But, yeah, our quarterback, the quarterback that had been groomed to be the guy for over a 10, 15-year period, somehow magically they moved him to defensive back. Right. Oh, yeah, another part of that story, they moved him from quarterback, the position that everybody in town was waiting to see him at the varsity level. They moved him to defensive back, but magically the head coach's grandson, a freshman that never played football in his life, started for our varsity team. That's the other side of the damn story. That's the other side of the damn story. But this is the era that I grew up in. Exactly. It's much different now. You know, it's much different now when you look at all of these brothers, you know, playing quarterback in college. Nah, it was a foregone conclusion in 1980 at least, and I know it was even more so the case before that. In the 1980s, early 1990s, at least in my little hometown, and you wasn't playing quarterback if you were a brother. It just wasn't going to happen. Why the parents didn't protest and boycott and picket, I don't know. But, yeah, that was the case. It still pisses me off till this day. Chucktown Frank, that tells me y'all didn't play James Island. Whatever, man. I ain't never lost to James Island. Stop that, boy. Stop that. I ain't never lost no damn James Island. From Fly Ty, along with myself, the cornerback who also played quarterback. That's right. Ty played cornerback or quarterback in JV and all growing up when we were in a little league and everything. That's right. Ty was nice as hell at quarterback. Moved him. What'd you play, Ty? You played flanker? They moved him out to flanker. We magically get to varsity and everybody, you know, forget how to play quarterback all of a sudden. From Sandman, what up, Stews? From Grego X Squad, is much different past college. Is it much different past college? It is much different than the era that I grew up in. Yeah, you got Tyrod Taylors and Russell Wilsons and Cam Newton. It's definitely different. We have definitely progressed in that area over the years. We have. Like I always think about a lot of these quarterbacks that played college when I was growing up, these black quarterbacks that were playing college football at a high level when I was growing up, man, and if they came around during this era, like Joe Hamilton at Georgia Tech, Sean Jones from Georgia Tech, McPherson, what was the kid's name? I mean, there's so many to think of, man, that had